As promised, Vooka Nation, now it is the time to get in conversation with our guest because before the break, that's what we, announced. So all you need to do is you need to connect with us throughout our social media platforms. We are Vooka Breakfast Show. Just use the hashtag Vooka Breakfast Show. And lately and earlier, we were reading Mbuso's comment saying, where is Coach Kudakwashe? And I have a surprise for you, Mbuso. He is right here joining us on the Vooka Breakfast Show. Mr. Kudakwashe Kasunzuma, a Westrand United Academy coach. I can't wait to get into the conversation with him just to share with us about the academy and what it offers. Coach, thank you so much for joining us right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. Good morning, and how are you doing?
I'm well, my brother. Yeah. How are you?
We're good and thrilled to have you right here on the Vooka Breakfast Show.
Yeah, I must say that it's a pleasure, and I would also like to greet all the viewers, all the listeners. Good morning to everyone.
Yeah.
And it is a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and speaking, about the academy, I think a lot of people who are watching, who are parents, they would have so many questions in terms of how, their kids can join the academy. But before we get into that, for someone who is listening and watching, can you please take them through a brief introduction of what you do actually?
Okay, so basically I'm Kuda, Coach Kuda. Kudakwashe Kasunzuma. So basically, I am the under-17 coach for Westrand United Academy. We are currently playing in the Gauteng Development League, but not the mainstream with your Sundowns and your Chiefs, but in the promotional stream. So if ever we get promoted, we get then into the mainstream league. And then we also do have a senior side, which is playing in the Hollywood Bets Men's Regional League. Yeah. So we basically pride ourselves on grooming talent and also giving those kids exposure into more professional setups, getting them into national teams, and basically producing a player or an individual holistically, not just on the field, but as well off the field and also in their daily lives. Yeah. So that is the major impact that we're trying to make into all these kids that are in the academy. Yeah,
very interesting. And right now, I think one of the things that we want to understand and something that you just need to run us through, is how the academy in itself operates. Because one would just think, I just come there, I train with you guys, and then I have, joined. So can you just please take us through how, the academy operates as a whole?
Okay, so basically from an academy level, the way which we operate is that usually there are trials which we host. So we previously had a trial in Bombela, and now we'll be going on Sunday to Witbank, Emalahleni. We'll be having trials at Emalahleni TUT. And it's basically almost like a talent identification where we identify the talent. After we identify the talent, we then induct them into the academy where they start training with the team. And then from there, they then obviously get registered within the academy. But for a kid that doesn't attend the talent identification, he then goes through an assessment. So they come, they say, okay, no, they are eager to play. This is their profile. This is where they've played. Do they have the required documentation? Because in our league, we don't just play with birth certificates. We play with your passports and your IDs. So then after that, we give them a week where the coaches then look at the kid and say, okay, does he have the talent? Then if he does have the talent, that's when we take it to a further step where we then try and see how can we get them registered into the academy, and then we take it from there. Because another thing is that obviously running an academy and an institution this big, it also does require a lot in terms of finances. So we do have a clubhouse where we do house kids. So that also does have its own fees. And then we also do have your day-to-day footballers that come and go home. So also that is the very same thing. So it just depends on the child. First of all, does he have the talent? And then after that, the registration process within the academy.
So now let's speak about spotting that talent on a child, because one would think that, what, coach, my child has everything and he qualifies. Because I can see right here that some of your services, you guys have coaching philosophy, you guys deal with different training methods, teams and age groups, the academy rules and regulation, player selection process, which is right here. But now let's speak about it, raw. If someone is watching right now and they have their child, what is it that you guys are looking for in the child?
So basically, I can say first and foremost is the character. Is the character, because as I say to our kids currently, talent is not enough in football. Talent, just because you're talented doesn't mean you'll get somewhere.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, we look at the character of the child.
Yeah.
How is he? How is the person behind the athlete? And then that gives us an indication, will he fit in the squad? Because sometimes you can get a kid who's talented, he comes in, but then his character struggles within the team. You say, and then you'll be like, no, but this boy has got the potential, but why is he struggling why is he struggling with the integration?
Yeah.
So character, first and foremost, is important. And then after that, does he understand the game? Does he understand the game? Because that is also very important, because something that I've seen is that, example, you get your child who'd come and is a bit raw in terms of how they used to train, how they were trained in the past and all those things. And then they'd come to the academy and get complex training methods, as you stated, methodologies, philosophies, all those things. And then they fall behind because it's something they're not accustomed to. So do they understand the game? Now, if they understand the game, it is now easier to teach and all those things. But it's not to say that if he doesn't understand the game, it's a no-go. That goes back to character. How is his character? Is he willing to learn? Is he a fast learner? All those things, you see, they all count. Then also we look at the technique of a player. It depends also what age he is at. A kid who's 14 or 13 or 12 who comes in the academy, you're just looking at the kid, can he trap, can he pass and stuff. Obviously, you're not expecting to have football IQ and all of that. Is up to us to teach the child. But now, when a child comes in at the age of maybe 16, 17, he needs to understand the game. Because we cannot get a 16 or 17-year-old who now we have to teach the game to. You see, it then takes us back. So certain things and certain programs like that are very, 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 very crucial when it comes to the talent identification.
So now let's speak assurance, because if a parent now is letting their child join the academy, they're going to be worried about their well-being, if they're still focusing on their schoolwork. How do you guys ensure that, kids focus on their schoolwork while they're also grooming their career of being professional footballers?
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, it is tough. It is tough because kids that play football, they want to prioritize football and that's it. But with what I believe, because I'm previously coming from an educational institution where I was coaching, I believe that when it comes to sports and education go hand in hand. Because we're not just here to teach a child on the field, play football, trap, pass, understand the game, vision, whatever. We're also there to teach the child, tomorrow when you're finished with your matric, what is it you want to do? When you're finished with football, what is it you want to do? And there's something where a child who does well in school will do well on the field. Because at school, focus is required. Character is required. Personality is required. Integrity is required. All those values you learn in football, and I mean football and school go hand in hand because you learn life lessons from the game that you bring into life. And it's the very same thing at school. So you can find, not all the time, but most of the time, you can find a child who's struggling at school. When it comes to football, you kind of see the same patterns that at school the teachers are complaining about. You see them now on the field. So it is why it's very important, and we stress a lot on education. The kids need to take their education serious. If it's exam time at the clubhouse, there's no TV. Focus at least 2 hours when they come back from school. 2 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Focus on their schoolwork, study. After that, then we prepare for training. When they come back, then they eat, then they prepare their uniforms and everything for school the next day.
Yeah.
So I can say that school is a priority to us. It is a priority to us because another thing, a child at the age of 18 cannot be in grade 10, example. Because a child who's in grade 10, who's 18, when he's finished with matric is now 20. So now it prolongs your progress as well as an athlete. Because now when you're finishing matric, you're now 21. And now when you're 21, it now becomes difficult to get like into other teams, whether you're reserve team, football or whatever. And another thing with education, I mean, you can go to college football. There's university football, varsity football, and there are a lot of players that are going into professional stages through varsity football. So education is very, very important. It's very, very important. And I can't stress more on that, but it is very, very important.
I'm very glad that you guys prioritize that, because it's some of the things that, any parent will stress out when it comes to their child. So now let us speak about the South African football standard, in terms of you guys keeping up with the requirements of, okay, how do we now feed, these kids into our, recent football standard right here? Because we are always hearing that, no, if someone is playing for Orlando Pirates, they are now a professional player, they need to play at Europe. Do you guys now prepare these players to play for South Africa, or do you prepare them to go internationally with their careers?
Okay, look, if I can start, we've recently started your video analysis.
Okay.
So we record some of the games. And we have a team analysis session where we sit down with them, we show them certain patterns, certain things they did right, certain things they did wrong, so that it gives them a picture now. Because sometimes a kid, you can tell them they did something wrong. They'll be like, no, they didn't. But now when they see it on TV, it's a different story. There's no way to hide, you see. So we've come up with that video analysis. Also individual feedback, where we sit down maybe with one-on-one, or maybe it's a group, or maybe it's 2 or 3 players, get them to understand, because that helps in improving their game. You see, certain things like your diet, certain things like your almost like your high performance. I wouldn't say high performance, but almost like your high performance in the sense of the physical training, working on your different muscle groups. Because you get a kid who's good, but then example is got a weak core or he's got weak quads. And those certain things are very important for players to tone on and to grow. So we do nurture talent and we do groom talent to get into the top stages, to get into the junior national teams. I mean, it's something I was telling the kids at the clubhouse a few weeks ago. I think we've had 2 players that have played for under-17 national teams. We've got the actual flags at the clubhouse. And I think there's one that's played for, I think it's Egypt or Morocco national team, under-17 as well. So it's not something that we talk about that has not happened. It's something that has happened. So that is why we're trying to lift the standard even higher, so we can start getting players, not just locally, but abroad. You see, I mean, the academy houses Siyabonga Ngezan comes from the academy.
Wow.
He was at the academy.
Wow.
He was a player, stayed at the academy, trained at the academy, played for the academy in his junior days. And now look at him now.
It's gone, man.
You see. So it's something where we do strive on grooming our players, not just for the country, but to hit the international stage. And it goes back to those complex training methodologies, methods, philosophies, all those things. And also doing the extra thing as your video analysis, your physical work, your technical work, all those things. Also giving feedback to the players, reporting how you've been doing this quarter, this month, all those things. It is important because a player, I believe, has to understand where he needs to improve.
Their progress.
Exactly, because you can't be, example, a striker. You come to training, You go to training the following day. You go to training the following day. 3 days of training, but you have not scored a goal. You see. Now, you need to ask yourself certain questions that, no. And that is a problem in South Africa. South Africa, we've got players that just go through the phases. We train, we don't score, it's fine. We train, we don't score, it's fine. And now that's where sports psychology comes in. You see, because now we need to sit and understand that, okay, how do I improve? You see. Am I scoring at training? I mean, I read something by Benny McCarthy when he said when he was training Cristiano Ronaldo at training scores about 17 goals. You see, in the whole training session. So now when you come to South Africa, you find a striker who score 1 goal, maybe the whole training. Wow. And you see now where the problem is. So it's certain things like that that we're trying to instill in the young boys to get them to that level of the European stage and also the national team. So
yeah, man, it's interesting, man, coach, because I can tell you as someone who is a football fanatic. I mean, there's some of the things that you ask yourself, as a professional footballer, what is going on for you, to not take those chances that you are given? Because we understand if you are in an academy, yes, you're allowed to do mistakes, but there are certain mistakes that are not allowed to be done, as a professional footballer. But it is through your guys' academy we are seeing improvement, and we would like to see those boys coming in and giving us quality football in South Africa. But now, coming to you, we saw you. There's a picture of you with SAFA president, Danny Jordan, and you're holding a certificate. What certificate is that?
Yeah, so, okay, before I go to that part of the certificate, let me just add one thing as to what you're just saying now. Another factor is your sports psychology. Sports psychology is very important when it comes to sports. It's very important because as you're saying that you need to understand the brain. You deal with kids. Some kids are going through adolescent stage.
Oh, yes.
And trust me, even at under 17, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Some kids are trying to fit in. Some kids are trying to stand out. Some kids have egos. So you need to work with the mind and you need to understand how does the mind work. You see. And that's when you talk about your conscious and subconscious. I think it's your, I forgot the name, but it's the C. But how the mind works, how it takes information, how you groom a player's mind and all of that to become productive. And even if you make a mistake, what next? Not you make a mistake and now I'm afraid to do anything else. You see, make mistakes and grow from those mistakes. So that's where sports psychology, even us as coaches, like if a kid makes a mistake, how do we respond? If we don't win a game, how do we respond? If we lose a game and there was a mistake by a player, when do we go to the player and then give him that information and criticize and build and construct? And you see, there's a specific time, because if you go at the wrong time, it gets heated. And then the player doesn't listen to anything you say. But then if you go at the right time where everyone is calm, that's when now learning is taking place. You see, so it's very important to create a learning environment, and understanding sports psychology is very important in that. And then going to what you were saying about the license, it was basically, I was in Witbank at Emalahleni. I was doing it through our SAFA office at Emalahleni. I was attending my CAF-B license. So, it was a very intense course, but very interesting. And,
So the CAF-B license, by my understanding, it allows you to become an assistant coach in the top elite football, right? Correct. So that's the one that you got?
Yes, correct. I got the one for the CAF-B. And looking to get to A.
Of course. As much as the courses are so intense, they get more intensive.
No, it is intense. But I mean, one thing I can tell you is that when I was at the B license, there's a lot I learned about my sessions. There's a lot I learned about me. For example, how you create a learning environment. Other kids learning. What do you address at training? You address ability, you address understanding, you address ability, understanding, attitude, all those factors during your session. Are you meeting your objectives? I mean, our instructor taught us that when most coaches, when they are training players, they are just training. they are not teaching. So it is important for us to teach.
Yeah.
And teaching doesn't mean you teach once and they should understand.
Yeah.
Football is a process. That's why they say at academy, development football is not an event. I mean, it's not an event. It's a what? It's a journey.
The journey.
You see. So you keep teaching, you keep teaching, you keep teaching, you keep teaching, you keep teaching. Repetition is the mother of learning. So it's very important when it comes to that. And that's why I always encourage coaches that, no, man, getting a license doesn't mean you're going to be the best coach or you're going to win all your games. But the foundation, the players we build for the national team, that's our first and foremost responsibility, is to the national team of the country. You see, and now if you're grooming players in the right way, I mean, look now, the under-17s going to the World Cup, under-20s doing well. Bafana, very same thing. Under-23 also doing well. Banyana doing well,
man.
So it goes to show that the more qualified coaches we've got in the country, the more the pool starts to widen and the quality is there and all of that. So it was, as much as it was intense, but it was very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Ah, man, Coach, I know that this conversation won't end right here because, when you speak about the mind, because I, for one, as someone who has played soccer, I've seen, a lot of people losing interest in playing soccer because you are being taken out of a game because of a certain mistake and it kills you as someone that, I don't belong in the sport. And Coach could have done more, but it is through your guys' academy that, kids can learn all of those factors that shape them to become professional players out there, right? So as we're about to conclude, man, we've got a t-shirt right here. So what is this is the academy t-shirt, right?
This is the academy t-shirt.
Ah, man, looks beautiful.
Westrand United.
Yeah,
it is for you guys here in studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll keep the spirit, of the academy in the studio here, man. With so much philosophy. So if maybe a parent is watching out there and they would like their child to join the academy, where would they find you guys and how can they contact you?
So basically, we train at Westrand Sports Academy, Sports Complex. Our training is from Tuesdays up until Fridays. We train from 4:30 4 for 4:30 up until 6 o'clock. So if a player stays in and around, they can come to the ground if ever they cannot contact. But then if they can contact, we've got our social media pages. They can just Westrand United Academy. They can contact the contact details there and get more information regarding the academy and regarding possible assessment with the academy. And then as well, on top of that, there are trials that are coming up, so they can always attend the trials. And those are not the last trials what we are going to have. We are still going to go to other provinces and continue looking for talent. Our aim is to uproot. Maybe the next thing gets on. We don't know. We don't know.
It's right there in the academy, right?
Correct.
But Coach, thank you so much for taking your time to come
thanks
here.
A lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the invitation.
That was a Coach Kudakwashe Kasunzuma right here, Westrand United Academy coach. Very interesting conversation we've just had with him here on the Vooka Breakfast Show. So right now we're just going to let him go and then continue with the rest of what we have on our today's menu. So please don't go anywhere.